Chilled has to be one of the toughest places to build a brand, but Holy Moly found an edge. Today, we're getting into how. So you're listening to Makin Mighty, the Challenger Sessions. I'm Simon Greenwood-Haigh, and this is where we have honest conversations with the people actually moving the needle in food and drink, founders, buyers, operators, and brand builders. Today, I'm joined by Gaz Booth from Holy Moly, a brand that's broken through in one of the toughest categories out there. So Gaz, great to have you on.
Oh, it's good to be here, mate. Thanks for having me.
No, absolutely. And to kick things off, could you just give me a quick 1 minute intro into who you are and the Holy Moly journey so far, please?
Of course. Yeah, first of all, I'd say thanks for having me. It's a great pleasure to be here. So I'm Gaz Booth, co-founder of Holy Moly. I have to say that Tom gets really upset when I pretend he doesn't exist. But he's an important part of the team if he's listening to this, obviously.
Yeah, thanks, Tom. Yeah.
Yeah. And we, not important enough to be invited, obviously, but you know, still an important part of the team. We set off on a journey about 10 years ago to improve what we thought was a pretty underloved part of the supermarket. So the famous story, as we've told 1,000 times, an argument about coriander and whether or not it should be in guacamole led us to question why neither of us bought the stuff from the supermarket. It's not authentic, doesn't taste like it should, full of crap, to be honest, back in the day. I mean, it's much improved now, to be honest. And then, as you do, 3 weeks later, we were on a avocado orchard in rural Mexico, and we still make our products with the same family-owned business today. So yeah, 10 years on, 18,000 stocking points, Europe's largest guac and avocado branded dips business. Still fighting, still plodding, one foot in front of the other.
Yeah, love it. And I think I've said this to you before, but looking back 10 years ago, it's something that you wouldn't have thought worked, because avocado was crap. Oh, sorry, guacamole was crap and 80p, and to think people are going to pay a premium for a better quality branded products, but you proved everybody wrong, which is great.
You know, interesting enough, it's such a good point. The first meeting we ever had, we sat down with a retailer, can't say who it was, rhymed with Besco's, and they said, you know what, lads, love the products, but this is a category that's own label dominated, it's price driven, people are looking for cheap value, and don't bother. Like we love you guys, we love the product, but there's no way of premiumizing this category. And like you say, if we just took their advice at the time, we could have packed up and gone home. We had proper jobs, you know. We were both relatively successful in our careers, but we just knew that there was a different way of doing something. And actually, through the dips category and subsequently many other parts of the supermarket, in fact, every other part of the supermarket, we are now a firm believer that there is an opportunity for brands to bring value back into categories, to stop that kind of own label domination and decline, and to bring choice and fun and something a bit different to shoppers, whether that be a Tesco shopper now, you know, we're hugely successful in Tesco, or right across the board. So yeah, we have proved people wrong. And actually, I think we surprised ourselves by how customers have responded.
Yeah, I bet. So the first question I want to ask all my guests is when you think of the word challenger in food and drink, what does that mean to you? Because it means so many different things, but to you and your experience, what does that mean?
I think it's probably a combination of factors. Partly it's the category, right? So what's happening or has been happening in the category for the last 5-10 years. And with most supermarket categories, it's a fairly similar story. It's a fairly similar kind of product life cycle. You've gone from kind of, for us, for instance, in the dips world, it was highly commoditized, own label dominated, made by probably 2 or 3 major kind of supermarket partners, big companies. Our job as a challenger is to do 2 things. One is to potentially do things that a big player wouldn't take a risk on doing or can't because of the way that they're set up. And it's partly, I was at a session with Ken Murphy at Tesco last week, and he was very clear that one of the things that we often lose sight of in the challenger brand world is bringing that bit of fun and irreverence and colour and just interest back to categories that require it. A brilliant kind of category buyer will look at their shopper and understand that it's a broad spectrum and that you need really good own label products. Of course you do, but also you need brands that can, as we talked about, bringing different customers with a slightly different outlook on life. Premiumization is one thing, added value. We talk about average weight of purchase. There's commercial outcomes that if you get it right, what you can do is just have a better offering in a category for the consumers that either currently walk past and don't buy anything because they don't think it's a category for them, or currently buy own label products and don't realize there's a better option out there. And that better option could be healthier, more natural, could be a sustainability message. In every part of the supermarket, there's a role for giving customers a different option in terms of what they're there to buy for. And I truly believe that every single part of the supermarket needs challenger brands.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And I think one of the things you picked up on there from the Tesco session you had was forgetting to be fun and irreverent sometimes. And I think a lot of the founders and brands I speak to are racing to act like they're more established, more boring competitors. And I think it's really buying can be, I've been a buyer, it can be really fucking dull.
Yeah. Yes.
I think bringing fun to the buyer's job and to the shopper and to the consumer and all those things is really important, but people forget to do it. You're right.
I mean, it's so important that you don't act like a Bakkavor or a Greencore or a, well, we're partly owned by Samworth Brothers, and part of the joy of being owned by Samworth Brothers is when Mark Samworth says to me, don't be like us. We have a way of doing things where we've got £1 billion business with our supermarket customers. We have to act in a certain way. You don't have to act that way, and nor should you. So even they recognize that the way we do things has to be different, has to be different for buyers, has to be different for the end consumer. And frankly, it has to be different for us. Like, if we just went in and JBPs and all that boring, it wouldn't be fun. Like, part of this, the working for yourself, is because it's meant to be fun, right? It's meant to be fun.
Yeah.
There's an element of kind of not forgetting that.
Yeah, 100%. So thinking back to the early days,
when I had hair. I had hair, and I was
maybe.
I remember.
I don't remember those days for me. I've got hair, but I was never thin. So chilled is a really hard space to compete. What were the early signs you saw that meant you knew you'd picked the right battle? And maybe what did you get wrong as well when you first tried to stand out?
Yeah. I mean, so what we got right. Look, no one talks to you about the unsexy stuff, right? Everybody wants to talk about going in and winning customers and sales meetings and pitching to brands and da-da. No one wants to talk to you about pallet builds, minimum order quantities, minimum life on receipt, the arguments you're going to end up having if you don't get the basics of kind of chilled distribution, all distribution, but particularly in chilled. Frankly, for me, the vast majority of my last 10 years has been spent making sure we have as a slick an operation behind the scenes. This is brilliant, right? This is lovely. Colouring in, as I say, I mean, the marketing team will kill me. I love the fact we've got a brilliant brand that people recognise. It's got presence. It's fantastic. And Tom deserves a lot of credit for that. All that is fantastic. How we build our pallets to be the most efficient possible, that's where I get my kind of kicks out of this. And it's interesting. No one wants to talk to you about the unsexy stuff. Nobody. But for me, if you don't get that right, almost as a hygiene factor is, can you run an operationally, almost hands off? Will it run by itself if you got hit by a bus tomorrow? Does it run efficiently? What's your right first time percentages? Your on time delivery? All this stuff that actually we don't, they don't teach you this stuff, but actually it's what matters to a buyer. It matters to a buyer because one of the key questions they always ask themselves is, can these guys do it? If I give them 500 stores, are they going to fall over? Or if I ask for a third SKU, are they going to be able to deliver it? You've been a buyer, right? There's only 3 or 4 questions they ask, like, who the fuck are you, right? Who are you? What do you do? Why is your product different? Will it sell? And actually, if I do put it on shelf, are you bullshitting me and can you do it? And so for me, the most important thing through my time at Holy Moly, and I think that I'm most proud of, is that we deliver 7 days a week to 18,000 stocking points, and our on-time delivery is something like 99.9%. It's ludicrous. It's absolutely ludicrous.
Wow. Yeah.
But that's because the hard yards went in at the start to build a supply chain, work with the right partners. We're very lucky. We've got some brilliant people we work with. How we set up, how we how we designed it from the start to almost go big, and we've learned some lessons on the way and some hard bloody lessons, and we've had some failure, and as long as you learn from that. I suppose the other side of your question, what's the one thing I learned is almost related, is going too fast too soon. I see everybody's desperate for shelf space. Everybody's desperate for penetration. Everybody's desperate for getting out there to as many stores as possible. But if you're not set up to do that, you'll fall over very quickly. And the one thing I can't stand more than anything else is knowing that if you give me 1,000 stores, in 6 months' time, we're going to end up having a shitty conversation and managing a tail and looking at rate of sale, because actually, whilst we're in the top 250 stores, we'll do unbelievably well. And it's the right customer on the right mission. There's 700 or whatever the denominator is there that isn't quite ready for Holy Moly. And therefore, when we go into customers now, obviously, it's a lot easier because we do deliver to practically everybody. A lot of people already know the brand, have tried the products. We still ask that question is, look, what's your best 400 stores? We'll have that. How do you segment your stores, and can we get into your kind of top stores that match the kind of our known customer? And then if that takes off and does well, in 6 months' time, we'll come back and we will come back and we'll ask for some more, because that's what we want to do. We want to build. So going too fast too soon, I've seen it too many times. You're just having crap conversations where you're managing decline almost. That's not your fault.
Yes.
That's the reality.
Yeah, there is definitely almost a vanity with store numbers, but the beauty of being a smaller business is you can be obsessed with rate of sale and how you drive rate of sale, and you have to be all over it, because you're right. If your diluted rate of sale it's because you're in too many stores, start small, build up, but earn the next 100 stores, earn the next 300 stores. But it's a hard learned lesson, I think, though.
Oh,
because it's easy to get carried away.
Yeah, we've done that twice. We've done it A, with too many stores, and B, too many SKUs. People don't remember when we launched into Tesco first time round, we launched with 3 SKUs. Now, 3 is not a lot in that space, but it was one too many. And until you've almost earned the brand equity and the space on shelf, it's lovely being given 3 SKUs. It very quickly went down to 2. Very quickly went down to 2. And actually, sometimes I think you would get a lot more credit as a founder if you can go to the supermarket and say, look, something's not quite adding up. This is our plan to deal with it, rather than them come to you and go, guys, 3rd SKU's not working, we're pulling it out. It's like, look, let us come to you and say, 3rd SKU's not quite working. Let's get those shoppers back into the first 2 SKUs, get that rate of sale up, and earn the right then to grow on top of that. So I think for a founder, sometimes the hardest thing is like being self-critical of choices you've probably made that you shouldn't have done. But I think that you get a lot of credit with buyers if you go in and go, something's not quite adding up and we've got a plan to fix it, rather than then having to pick the phone up to you and go, this ain't working.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. And if you're thinking back, is there one decision that you've made as a brand, it doesn't have to be at the start, but just throughout the history, that's helped Holy Moly punch above its weight, and something you'd repeat in a heartbeat?
There's 3 things, and I know you want short, sharp answers, so I'm going to keep them short and sharp. One is having a co-founder and working with a mate. Right, Tom and I have known each other 27 years. We have a few mantras that we stick to. Things like, we'll only ever stab each other in the front. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's a great mantra. If you're part of a co-founding team, it's a lot easier. Doing this on your own it's just horrible. It really is. So surround yourself with people you can trust and like-minded people. So that's 1. 2, I talked about it earlier, supply chain partners, like our rework guys, our repack guys. We've worked with them for several years now. They're a crucial part of the cog of kind of what makes Holy Moly tick, but no one knows who they are, and they never get any credit. But I do recommend them to pretty much everyone else that asks me. If they say, look, we need someone to do chill rework, come and speak to my guys, because they're shit hot and they've never let us down. That's the most important thing. It's not been perfect. We've all ballsed stuff up, but they own it, they deal with it, they learn from it, and we kind of grow together. And the 3rd one, and this is very easy to say, is actually when we took investment from Samworth Brothers. A lot of people questioned whether that would be good or bad, whether having a big business get involved would help or hinder. They've been nothing but supportive. The 2 things that they've done: 1, they've left us alone. They've never intervened. I've never had a call from Mark Samworth or from Simon, the CEO, anybody to say, what are you doing? And don't do that. That's never happened. And two, when we've had really specific problems that you would have no way of knowing how to solve, turns out they've always got somebody that knows. So it's just been really useful to find not just the money. Money's important, of course it is, cash flow, working capital, but money plus. And we've got that with a few of our investors. Obviously, we've got Garth Weston, the chairman of the business. He's come with a vast experience through ABF and the family there. And yeah, we've managed to find the right partners. And I think that comes down to choosing to work with the right people, if I'm honest.
Nice. Okay. What are your other mantras? I'm interested. That you and Tom, can you repeat them?
So stab each other in the front. No stinking fish. So
it's a good one, yeah.
That's a good one. Like, don't let something lie. Never relitigate. So if we sit down and we make a decision, that's the decision. Even if one of us doesn't agree with it, we fall in behind.
Yeah,
they're the main ones, really. And that's just about the culture of how we want to work. We want to be fast. We want to move quickly. Some things will break purposely or accidentally. Some things we don't agree on. We're very lucky. I'd say we've known each other 27 years. We were best man at each other's when we think alike. We are not alike, interestingly, but we always come to the same conclusion, which I think helps.
Okay.
Very rare we've ever not agreed on something, despite coming at it from two different angles.
Okay. Nice. Has there been a point where you almost walked away, and what kept you going if you didn't?
Oh yeah. Oh, mate, daily, I think. Daily occurrence, isn't it?
Yeah, I get that.
But that's what makes entrepreneurs and founders different. It's the ability to come back in the next day or to shake yourself down and crack on. Anyone who thinks this, brilliant, 18,000 stocking points, 15 million turnover, sell hundreds of millions. Great, but actually every day it's still a roller coaster. There's still stuff goes off and you think, like Christ alive, what is that? The big one for us, I mean, we had a relatively large supplier issue in that they decided that they wanted to change our payment terms just overnight, and that caused us a huge issue, and that resulted in us looking at our risk. It sounds very posh. Looking at our kind of risk profile and working out how we built more resilience in. So, for instance, for us now, we partner with 4 factories, 2 countries, 3 continents. We're about to add a Peruvian avocado processing family to our kind of our rota of people we work with. So as we've grown, we've had to de-risk on certain things, and actually sometimes you don't get the option. Sometimes just shit happens and you've got to deal with it, whether that's currency, whether it's supply chain, whether it's someone goes bust on you and you can't buy tomatoes. Just this stuff happens.
Yeah.
And I think best founders see this stuff coming, but actually the very best founders know how to deal with it quickly, effectively, and just pick themselves back up.
Yeah. The way you're describing it, having a global supply chain, trying to sell chilled into a UK retailer. I mean,
it's good, isn't it?
Yeah.
The best thing is, Simon, I think a lot of people think, anybody could do this. They could. It's fucking hard work.
Yes. Come and speak to Gaz first before
like, I do think in terms of barriers to entry, people often think like you have to be, and of course you have to get the basics, IP protection, whatever kind of exclusivity you can get with your suppliers, all works well. But actually, sometimes just the hard yard you put in protects you, because you've got a setup that others would find very difficult to replicate. And I certainly believe that. I do believe that.
Yeah, 100%. So if you were to go back and launch Holy Moly again, or are you going to do it tomorrow based on what you now know, what would you do differently?
That's a great question. We had we thought we cracked it, didn't we? We were King Dicks. Thought we were fucking, the bells of the ball. And actually, one thing we don't try and do is believe our own hype. I'm from Yorkshire and Tom's Yorkshire. We try and nothing actually brings you back down to earth than going and sitting around your family. Who my dad still doesn't know what guacamole is, right? I mean, I think he would, in the nicest possible way, describe it as foreign muck.
The Yorkshire dad, yeah. Fair enough.
He bloody loves the salsa though, and the cheese. So there's something for everybody in the Holy Moly family.
Nice.
We thought we'd got this brand that was growing. We'd had big success, obviously launching into Sainsbury's, Tesco, Asda, Morrison, and we thought, we'll just stick the brand on another product. Tom and I promised Tom, entrepreneurs to the heart. We saw an opportunity, and no one remembers this. You might remember this, guy. You may. We launched 2 new product lines that were in no way related to green things. No, really. It was overnight oats, ahead of its time. Lots of successful overnight oats businesses coming out of the woodwork now. And by the way, doing great work. Fully back those guys. And we launched a range of vegan milkshakes. Just like, I
don't remember either of them, but
I genuinely say it out loud now. And Tom and I will just often go, vegan milkshake. Just like laugh at each other. If ever there's anything we think we're getting above ourselves, we're like, anyone fancy a vegan milkshake? The thing is, we had such good relationship. We launched 5 SKUs. 5 SKUs of vegan milkshake into 700 Sainsbury's. Like Sainsbury's were like, yeah, we back you guys. And they're fantastic. They're brilliant partner. Actually, I must admit, all our retailers are fantastic in different ways. But they were like, yeah, of course, yeah, vegan milkshake, get it. This was at the height when, plant-based was perhaps thought of slightly differently. And they were brilliant products, genuinely brilliant products. But then you think, who's buying them? Like, genuinely, like, you think right now, I think, like,
and how does it fit within what you're doing?
Your Yazoo man is not suddenly switching to vegan milkshake. Yeah, and what we realise there is we've just got to stick to what we know and we've done the same, even in dips. We've obviously launched various other kind of adjacent lines, which some to a less or greater degree have been successful or not. But what we've purposely done now is kind of go back to what can we do in green, in format, in sizes, in flavour profiles. So our biggest, most successful NPD to date has been the food to go. Bigger category, obviously, but there's a lot of things get launched in food to go that are still fail. But, we're the 7th highest selling chilled snack in the Sainsbury's meal deal. It's going into, I'm not sure what I'm allowed or not allowed to say. It's going into several other retailers early in the new year. It's brought in something like 55% incrementality to Holy Moly shoppers. Like 55% of the people that bought it had never tried Holy Moly before. So it's been a real positive. And actually what that's come through is sticking to being really good at it, being obsessive about your kind of core, knowing what your hero products are, and not getting ahead of yourself. Don't believe your own hype. There's the message. Christ.
Nice. Go and see your dad, yeah.
Oh, he'll give you his opinion. Honestly, I think he's still waiting for some northern pasta stuff.
Okay. I've noted. It's the wrong northern for your dad, though. It's this side of the country.
Oh, you don't have a chance.
Okay, fair enough. It's the lakes. No one can hate the lakes, sure.
Oh, that's fair. That's fair.
So it's a final question. What's the one thing you wish every challenger brand in food and drink understood earlier?
I think people think that buyers are giving them a hard time deliberately. I think they think it's some sort of mantra that the buyers have been taught that to ignore or to just dismiss challenger brands. I actually don't think that's true. I genuinely think the big retailers are trying very hard to understand the role of innovation, understand the role of challenger brands. You look at the programs that have been developed relatively recently. Obviously, when we started, none of this stuff existed. The Ocado Roots program, Co-op Hive, the Apiary. I was going to say the Hive. I don't know. I know it's bee related.
There's bees there.
The Tesco Accelerator program. JS obviously had stuff going on. They're all. The problem is what they're trying. They are all working out in their own minds what the role of a challenger brand is for them and their customers. And some have got it really right straight away. Some have, over time, have got stuff right, and some haven't got it all right. But everybody in the challenger brand world, when we started, I just remember thinking, I'm not even getting noticed. And I thought we would just generically like delete it. I actually don't think that's the case. I think most buyers are incredibly busy, work further ahead in timescale than you probably think. They can't just look at something and go, oh yeah, we'll stick it on shelf. They've got merchandising teams to talk to. They've got, what's the strategy overall? How do they fit into the wider category piece? They're not bad people, and most of them are trying to do a good job. And I think sometimes we separate that kind of fact from the fiction of buyers are they just don't want to know about challenger brand. It's not true. It's not true, particularly if you can demonstrate the value. I mean, this. Yeah. You were a buyer. Does that resonate or not?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, the buying is still the busiest job I've ever had. So trying to work through my day job, plus understanding which new brands to bring in, plus is that the right opportunity and what am I taking out? And it's not, I mean, woe is me, but yeah, there's a lot to it. And most of them would love to work with more challenger brands because it's more fun.
Yeah. And yeah,
Simple.
and this is all a truism. So what would I do about it? I just think persistence is key. Like we
Yeah.
probably had 20 no's from Waitrose before they were our first customer, first bricks and mortar customer, before we went in there. And actually, I remember that meeting. And the chap now works for Backable, a chap called Tom Woodings was our buyer. And we just threw, I said, right, we just have to go nuclear. Like, what is everything we can throw at this guy that means it's impossible for him to say no? And I remember we went to Waite House and he'd put the aircon up to about 900 degrees. I was sweating before I got in there, but I felt like it was a real stressful situation. But I think you've got to take your shot when you get it, which means you've got to be really clear about, I think I mentioned it, there's 4 or 5 questions. They don't want chapter, they don't need 30 slides on why your product's brilliant, why your auntie Linda loves it. Do you know what I mean? They want, who are you? What does it do? Do you understand anything about the category? Have you looked into it? Have you even thought about, even from a logic perspective, you don't need reams of data. Just logically, does your product work? Who else is out there doing what you're doing? And if it's nobody, brilliant. Will it sell? And how do you know? That's hard when you're starting out, but obviously now once you've got a couple of retailers, I find it tends to snowball. And finally, can you do it? Literally, do you have the operational capability? Because it's all right having 74 Waitrose stores like we had, but then suddenly when Tesco say is 800, 900, or Sainsbury's come along and go, here's 1,200 stores, it's different. It is different. So you've got to have the basics in place that mean you can scale quickly as well. That's absolutely key.
Nice, mate. Love that. That'll do it. Because Gaz, this has been brilliant. Thank you so much for jumping on, for sharing, for being open, and giving us a real story that hopefully people can learn from that are watching this. Thank you so much, mate.
Anytime, and like I say, if anyone's out there thinking, if I can, you know me, I love helping the challenger brand community. So, if there's anyone out there that wants any help, either get in contact with you and you can share my details. I love to hear where people are on their journeys and help if I can. So yeah, fantastic, mate.
I'm very kind. There we go. Put you in
Have a
touch
good
with Gaz. Nice one. Cheers. Thank you, mate. Big thank you to everyone listening. If you found this useful, pass it on to someone in food and drink who you think will get value from it. So please subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. Catch the clips on LinkedIn. Follow me on Instagram and TikTok. And if you want to learn how to be more challenger, then why not sign up to my Challenger Sales MBA? Or get in touch at makinmighty@gmail.com just to say hi. Love to hear from you. Catch you next time.